All right, let's get started on some math. If you remember, our job this week is to be able to make a 10 to add easier. So what we've been doing is we have two numbers that we're adding together. And so we are taking one of those numbers and we are decomposing it into two numbers to make a 10. And then we can add a whole lot simpler. So that's our job today. So let's go ahead and get started with our problem of the day to get our minds warmed up on math. Okay, so your problem says a school bus made a stop and 5 kids got off. There are still 6 kids on the bus. How many kids were on the bus before the stop? So I know the first thing that I need to do is I need to go through and I've got to figure out what I already know. Well, I already know that 5 kids got off. So I'm going to go ahead and show the 5 kids who got off. Now, once I've showed the 5 kids who got off, I need to show the ones that are still on. So these are my 6 that are still on the bus. So now I'm able to tell how many kids are on the bus before these guys got off. So here are the 5 kids that got off at the stop, plus the 6 kids that were still on the bus after the stop. So I can tell that there were 11 kids on the bus before the bus stopped. So now I've got to write a sentence that will answer this question. How many kids were on the bus before the stop? There were 11 kids on the bus before the stop. So I know that there were 11 kids on that bus before it stopped. So if you didn't get what I got, I want you to go ahead and make some corrections so your brain knows what to do. And we will go ahead and move on to make a 10. So I'm going to show you all 3 ways that we have talked about to make a 10. So the very first one I'm going to show you is this. 8 plus 6. So I see 8 plus 6. Well, I know the quickest and easiest way for me to do it is going to be to make a 10. So I'm going to show you 8 plus 6 on my counters. I have 8 plus 6. I have 8 plus 6. So the first thing I need to do is make a 10. So I'm going to take some of my counters and I'm going to make a 10. So I no longer have 8, I actually have 10. So I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to say it's no longer 8, it is 10. Then I see that I have 4. So I no longer have 6 there, I actually have 4. So I can add 10 plus 4 much quicker than 8 plus 6. So I know that 10 plus 4 is 14. And I can show it on my 10 frames just like this. Now we're going to do another one. The next one with our 10 frame is going to look like this. 8 plus 7. Now, I will tell you that I know you're already thinking, oh, Miss Metz, I can do this. All I have to do is catch the 8 and count 7 more. Great. I love that you have a strategy. That is perfect. But I want you to work on making a 10 so that way next week when we start adding 3 numbers, it's going to be easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my 8. And then I'm going to, I'm going to show you my 8 and then I'm going to show you my 7. So I have 8 plus 7. Well, I know that I need to make a 10. So I'm going to take some of my yellow and fill up my 10 frame. So I no longer have 8. As you can see, I actually have 10. I have 10. So my 10 frame shows me I have 10 instead of 8. 10. So then I also see that I don't have 7 anymore. I actually have 5 because I moved some. So it's no longer 8 plus 7. It's actually 10 plus 5. 10 plus 5 is much easier to solve than 8 plus 7. 10 plus 5 is 15. Okay, so that was one way that we have worked this week. The next way that we have worked is using this number line. Now, I know this one's kind of hard, so we're just going to go over it, and if this one is harder for you, it's okay. You have other ways that you can show it. So the first thing I'm going to do is circle my first number. So I've circled my first number, 7. And I know that I need to hop until I get to 10. So I'm going to hop 1, 2, 3 times. So I've hopped to 3. Now what I need to do is I need to keep going until I say 7. So I've hopped 3 times. That makes 4, 5, 6, 7. That makes 7. So I can see that my number that I landed on is 14. 7 plus 7 equals 14. So I could use a number line to get to 10 and then to add on. Now, the last way that we talked about, and this was the hardest way, is to decompose that number. So remember when we circled 10? That's exactly what we're going to do. So I have 7 right here. And now what I need to do is I need to circle to make 10. So I'm going to count 7, 8, 9, 10. I now have 10. I no longer have 7. I have 10. So I had 3 here. 3 plus what is going to give me 5? 3 plus 2. So I know I now can say 2. 10 plus 2 is going to give me 12. It's much easier to make a 10 than it is to add 7 plus 5. 10 plus 2 equals 12. Now, what I'm going to have you do is you are going to go through and you're going to turn in your teddy bear workbook and you are going to do the last page for this lesson. The last page for this lesson, and it starts on page 127, and you're going to do 127, 128. You're going to practice all those different ways that we just worked on. You're going to practice using the 10 frames. You're going to practice using the number line, and you're going to practice decomposing that number to circle 10. So remember, your job is to circle 10. Make sure you do that. You circle 10 or make a 10 each time to make it easier to add. And then create your new number sentence just like I did.